What's up, guys? Welcome to today's video. Hope you guys are all having a great weekend so far. It's currently Friday, 1:35 in the afternoon right now. This video is going to be talking about my most up-to-date cash flow every single month, every single year. I'm going to break down pretty much how much my rental properties are making me. The first property you guys already know is a student rental. It's the only student rental that I actually have. I bought it for the sole purpose of having it as a rental property. It's literally across the street from Grand Canyon University. Like, the students it's a 15-second walk to the gate. So it's like meant to be a student rental, and I'm going to try to hold on to that as long as possible because this is my highest producing income property so far, and it's actually the second cheapest property that I've ever purchased. So the ROI on this is by far blows any of these other ones out of the water. And my student rental right here is the purpose of it's obviously a student rental. I bought this in 2019, July of 2019 for $209,000. Rent is what I'm charging them every single month. It equals out to $1,923 a month. There's 4 bedrooms in there. I think I have someone at $505, $495, $495, and then like a $438 or something like that a month. The only reason why I have someone at $438 is because they signed a 2-year lease. Looking back at it now, I can easily charge another $60 a month, but they have I think like 6 months left on their lease. The one thing about student rentals is the turnover on them. There's always constant turnover, and you have to rent out 4 individual rooms, which makes it a little bit harder, but I've been able to kind of work it really well and haven't had, I don't think, any vacancies so far, so that's really good. I do pay utilities. I do pay water and trash at this property, which is $61 a month. Now, the mortgage on this property, PITI, is principal, insurance, taxes, and interest. So this is pretty much what comes out of my bank account every single month. My overall is $873 a month, so that's what comes out at 3%. This is a property that I refinanced on. I don't plan on refinancing this ever again. I'm fine with 3%. And then one thing I wanted to talk about here, you guys see BlockFi. Now, every single month I have cash reserves in a specific account for each individual property. And what I do when that lump sum passes over a certain dollar amount is I will transfer the remaining amount into BlockFi, because BlockFi gives me 9% interest right now on that money. So rather than just having it sit in this account, in my Chase account is exactly where it's at, I just convert it all over to BlockFi, and I'm actually, instead of letting it sit in Chase collecting nothing, I let it sit in BlockFi, and this specific property, how much money I've accumulated over the 2 years, actually makes me $187 a month on the interest. So I actually count that towards my cash flow because it's strictly only money that I've made from this rental property before. It's not like other income sources going into that. This is strictly my interest from my income from this specific rental. Making my monthly cash flow $1,176, just over $1,000 a month on a $48,000 investment. So not bad. I should be making my money back within the next 2 years here. And then basically I bought this house with no money out of pocket in a sense, because I would have made my down payment back by then. The yearly cash flow on this property is $14,118. Now, my total income, because this property, I've owned it for the longest time, is $27,000. So that's how much money I've actually accumulated on this specific property. I believe about $25,000 of that is sitting in that BlockFi account collecting that 9% interest. So that's where you get this from right here. Now we're moving on to the second rental property. It is down the street. This one was more of a spontaneous purchase. I was still living in Los Angeles at the time. I actually never even looked at the property before I put an offer on it. So I don't know, sometimes you have to do that. They move fast right now. So this purpose is a family rental. I'm really glad I converted it over. Way less stress instead of having 2 student rentals. $1,795 a month on this property. The cool thing though is I'm not actually paying any utilities whatsoever. So that $1,795 minus my mortgage is directly to me. This is $907 a month at 4.5% interest. I was debating on refinancing this property, but this will be the property that I pay off first. So I'm just going to let it sit. If I get it down to a 3%, I may be saving $100 a month, so it's not a huge deal. Now, since I haven't accumulated as much money or owned this property as long, I bought this in 2020. I'm only collecting about $52 a month in interest from BlockFi, making my monthly cash flow $940 a month from this specific one. My yearly cash flow, just over $11,000. and my total income on this property is $9,200. Yes, I've owned it for more than a year, but this house needed a lot of work, and it had some vacancies. Last year it had some vacancies. I think I had about a month. I think I had a complete month of vacancies, and then I had a couple $1,000s in repairs and stuff like that. So yes, my yearly cash flow is over what my total income has been on this property. This has by far been like the house that I've reinvested in the most, for sure. So I've only made $9,200 on this property, and I've owned it for almost 2 years now. So that's not too good, but I'm hoping moving forward everything will be better on this property. And moving on to the third one is another family rental. I'm actually renting it to two of my friends right now. Now, this is one I want to talk about because this is the one that I actually raised rent on. I raised it, actually, this is the first month that I got paid with the new rent. The current rent is $2,075 a month. If this was in really good condition, I think I can rent this for $2,300 a month. But previously, this house, I rented it out for $1,675 last year. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm like making a couple $100s on this property a month. I need to raise rent. So I raised rent $400 and basically just brought that rent back up to market value, because the last thing you want to do is fall behind on market value. And then you try to raise your rent on your tenants that have lived there for 3 years, like $800-900, and they're like, no way, that's like way too much. And then you unfortunately have to lose a good tenant. But if you keep up with rent as fast as the market's moving, then it's a little bit easier to do these small little increments. So this $400 increment was much needed, and it was long overdue. Utilities is $0. My mortgage on here is actually $1,305 a month. I'm thinking about refinancing because I know I'm going to hold on to this property at 4%. I was actually talking to a lender today to see what I can get. Nothing too crazy though. He said I can get about a 3.25, so I'm not too interested in that. I also have HOA on this house, which is $90 a month. Same sort of situation here. I believe I have about $5,000 in this specific rental in BlockFi, so it's collecting me $52 a month. I've only owned this for just over a year now. And then, like I said before, this whole last year, I was only collecting like $300 a month in cash flow. But now my monthly cash flow is $732 a month, which is a lot better, making my yearly cash flow $8,784. Now, this by far is the highest equity property that I have. It's in the best area, but you guys can see like sometimes the properties that are not in the best area that are cheap actually produce better cash flow than the ones in nicer areas, but you're obviously a little more stressed with those. You have different types of tenants in those, and just like a kind of a whole different situation. So if you're trying to capitalize on cash flow, student rentals and distressed areas usually will yield the best cash flow, not because of higher rents, but because you can get those prices or those houses for a little bit cheaper. So yeah, that just kind of goes to show like these two houses right here are not in a good area. Like I'm going to be completely honest with you. Moving forward, I am only looking to buy rental properties in areas that I will likely personally live in, or at least I think that it would be like a livable for me, like wanting to live there. So that's kind of my own rule for myself, is only buy rentals in areas that you think are going to appreciate greatly and you would personally live in yourself. That's just my thing. A lot of people will continue to buy Section 8 houses or continue to buy in distressed areas. But for me right now, my main focus is just trying to get some properties that I know will appreciate in value. This is almost doubled in value since I bought it. I also have a fourth property that I will hopefully make a video on in the beginning of 2022, because it's a Airbnb that I really, really want to get up and running to see how that looks. I know a lot of you guys are curious on Airbnbs as well and how they cash flow. It's just still in the renovation process. It's going to need at least another month of renovation, another 2 weeks in staging, another 2 weeks in prepping it. So we're at least 2 months out on that. But hopefully that will be a good contribution to my monthly cash flow. But right now that thing's just draining me money. I have a monthly payment on it. I'm putting all this money towards renovations and it's not making me anything at all. So the longer I sit on it, the worse it is. My monthly rent. So this is what I am taking in every single month. $5,793. This is a number that you want to look at because this is potentially what I can be taking home every month if I didn't have any loans on these properties. If I paid every single property off, I'd potentially be making about $70,000 a year in passive income if I were to have all these properties paid off. Obviously, that is the end goal, but my monthly expenses come into play here, and that's 32, 36. So you basically subtract this number by this number, and then that gives you my monthly cash flow total with these 3 rental properties at $2,848. Obviously, as rents increase over time, which they will do, 2%, 3% a year sometimes. I mean, who knows what next year is going to look like. Your monthly cash flow will increase as well because, yes, rents increase for your tenants, but your mortgage stays the exact same. Yearly cash flow, $34,176. Nothing crazy. I want to get this up. My goal before I'm 30 years old is to get this number up to $100,000. So basically cash flow of $100,000 a year. My total income, basically what I've made from my rental properties since the first ever purchase, is about $45,500. Yeah, that is it, guys. I know a lot of you guys asked me about this. I got a couple DMs as well about updated cash flow, so I figured I'd make this video. It's been a while. I've had a couple updates here and there, so thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are interested in building up your wealth with real estate, specifically in Arizona, I am a licensed real estate agent. This is what I focus on. I do it for myself. I do it for clients. I love to work with you guys. I love to get in contact with you and get you set up in the right direction. You guys can email me down below. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok as well. If you guys ever message me on Instagram, I respond pretty much to 100% of the people that message me. So if you guys have questions, you guys can comment down below, message me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, and I'll see you guys soon.